many people found my humour in my accent here last week when I was asking who the RT board were loyal to. The executive took me to be asking who they were lying to. While that's not what I asked or insinuated at the time, I wonder now with new information that has come to light since last week, when we were assured that there was only one BATR account rather than three, were you the executive fully truthful with us, or was the subconscious in hearing of the word lie? I asked that honestly. The drip feed of different information is insulting to us as public representatives, to the taxpayers, to licensed fee payers, and above all to the staff, ordinary decent staff of RTE. It's just astonishing. And to ask a question, are we really expected to believe that no one apart from Ms Forbes could have known about figures published for Ryan Tubridy's pay? And is it in fact the case that the executive board members, many who are here, were not informed? So I ask you now, did you fail in your fiduciary legal duty as board member? That's a question that each of you, the board member, must ask yourself and must tell us. It's quite strict.
Who do you want to drive that question?
Any board member that feels like asking, did they fail in their duty, fiduciary duty, which I'm on boards, and I remember one night spending 2 hours at a voluntary board meeting, trying to reconcile a €20 underspend in a transport company, a voluntary transport company. That's the level of accountability should be there.
Matty, who do you want to respond to that?
Any board member who feels like.
Not the executive, the actual oversight board?
Yes.
Okay, we'll start with Ms Doherty.
As I said earlier on, Deputy, a board has an oversight role. And RTE is a unique
Sorry,
and unusual...
fiduciary responsibility you have.
Yes, absolutely.
That's legal.
And we take it very seriously and did. And as I said earlier, there are 3 ways a board garners information. The first is at regular board meetings and side meetings and ARC meetings from the managers and the leaders and the executive of the organisation. The second is on publication of the accounts when the auditors have trawled through every single figure. And we trust and believe when they say it is okay to sign off on these accounts by the auditors, we do. And the third possibility is walking along the corridors of RTE, hoping that somebody will come to you and say there is a problem here or there is a problem there. Those problems were never raised.
Okay. Look, a key legal and fiduciary responsibility of any board is to negotiate the pay terms and conditions of the company's highest paid earners. And only a board is in a position to do this job. And almost every board, but especially a publicly funded one, must have a remuneration committee, and that committee most likely must meet several times a year, and would most and investigate and negotiate the pay levels. Not as simple as you're waiting for someone to bump into the corridor. I don't accept that. And the company's executives and report back to the board. However, how could the chair of RT's Pay and Remuneration Committee, Ms Doherty, fail to attend a single meeting of this key committee in 18, 19, 20, and in fact over a 5-year period alone, the chair of the board only attended 2 committee meetings? How could this have been tolerated by the rest of the board?
The role of the Remuneration Committee was a consultancy role in relation to salaries. I was in regular consultation with the Director General. The entire focus of the board, my colleagues, myself, and those on the Remuneration Committee, was that the targets were met. The targets of cuts were met.
Look, please, in fact, the RT Executive Board's Remuneration Committee has a very defined terms of reference, and you failed completely to comply with them. Which is why we're sitting around here today. And how can you explain this gigantic failure? You were asleep at the wheel. You didn't do your job, full stop. And how you can maintain your positions is just astonishing. What we now know is that in 17 and 18, 19, 20 and 21, the RT Remuneration Committee failed to hold a minimum number of meetings as required on its own corporate governance. You failed to honour your own corporate governance. There was no mention of this failure in notes or within the organisations and in report either, which you refer to now. And the minutes of the meetings that did take place were not even circulated to the Executive Board. You were asleep at the wheel. you might as well stay away. You just cavalierly allow them to run amok. And as I said, why did the Executive Board not request the minutes of the Remuneration Committee? This is a clear failure of RT's Executive Board to perform its functions and its role. And would you not agree that? And I've also called for criminal investigation with the actions and conduct of the senior executives of RT, including the outgoing DG, while the crisis is deepening and the revelation of secret payments worth hundreds of thousands, if not millions. This is shocking. So I'm asking you, would you as chair and would the board members welcome, and the chief financial officer welcome a criminal inquiry, and would you have any objection to such an inquiry? Because I believe nothing else other than the fraud squad. We could be here for meetings and will be for weeks and weeks and weeks. The public are aghast, and you barefaced just tell us what you feel like telling us and misunderstand our actions and God knows what else. You take us for fools. There's slush fund out there. So will you welcome if the minister gets the courage, and she must, to send in the fraud squad, will you cooperate and will you welcome it?
Deputy McGrath, can I ask you if there's somebody specifically you're directing that question at?
There's plenty here to ask the senior people in RT and the executive board. Don't know how to look so stony faced. I want to know, will you cooperate with a gathering inquiry? Nothing else will uncover the facts.
Just to say, if fraud was committed, then of course, if any fraud was committed, of course we'd welcome an investigation. If that's your question.
If any fraud. But what about your failure in your fiduciary duties that you're duty bound as board members? Is there anybody to check that up, or have you any moral duty to say, yeah, sorry, we didn't. Sorry, I didn't attend those meetings I should have. Sorry, there wasn't a number of requested meetings. That is down there in your own governance. How do you explain that? I think we should have a circular table here that we don't pass the paper around, because we're getting no answers. No answers. Round and round. Round the house and mind the dresser. Do you understand that? Old proverb in country parlance, which I'm proud to represent the country people. The plain people of Ireland.
Deputy McGrath, you still have 2.5 minutes. Are there any further questions
Thank you.
you'd like to ask?
But I can't get answers for the ones I asked. Could I ask again? Would you all board members welcome a Garda inquiry? And could you explain why you failed in your fiduciary duties as set down by your own corporate governance to do the required minimum of a minimum number of meetings and report, and why the chair absurdly failed to attend those meetings and be in control of what was going on?
I don't know about you, but money management is...
With regard to fraud, Deputy, I take comfort in the legal guidance given to Siún as chair of the board and to the RT board that there is no fraud involved. Lack of transparency, misguided and misleading, yes, but under the legal advice right now, I believe, and I will ask the chair to confirm this, that no fraud has been committed.
So would you welcome a Garda inquiry? The previous speaker, please, would you welcome a Garda inquiry and cooperate with it?
I'm sure that everybody will cooperate if a Garda inquiry is necessary. Right now, the legal advice says there is no fraud.
What else will we get? I mean, we're expected to hold you to account. Nobody, RTs, hold anybody to account except the junior staff on 0 hours and the people that can't get maternity leave and can't get a sick leave. This is outrageous. So I'm still calling and will be calling. So what about yourselves? You're going to say something, sorry?
I was saying that the legal advice is, as my majority has said, that there is no, the opinion is that there is no fraud. Of course, if something...
Sorry, look, that's your legal advice. Look, you could get 10
Correct.
different legal advice to different people. It's not legal. We want public accountability. We want, as this committee, the best we can and the PAC, to try and uncover. But we're wasting our time without a proper, meaningful... we have a list of people who are appointed to one of the scoping...
Can I just remind you,
Yes.
I know you don't need reminding, but the Minister has already said that she will put in place an external
She
auditor
has.
professional,
Yeah.
and that there's 2 reviews underway. So let's not make accusations at the moment, okay? Let's have our deliberation and our discussion, and at the end,
Sure.
when we
Listen.
have all trawled through, I do appreciate, it's frustrating, I do
I do.
appreciate that
Please.
on both sides, but let's stay respectful in all this. Have you any final
Sorry,
questions?
I'm being respectful, but I'm respectful of the public.
Have you any
and the license
final-
bills. I have a final question is, the minister has appointed one, and she hasn't appointed all the members to these. This is going around in circles. I'm asking, and I did ask at our first private meeting, Chairperson, that we would have a Garda investigation of this, because I knew what was going to go on. It's come in, and more people next week, and more will come in the future. And this will go on, and next thing you hope that some other scandal will blow it away. Like when you do RTE prime investigation, you do a good job on that in the main. But you don't accept legal advice from a firm or somebody that everything's okay here. You go in and forensically interrogate and put it out on RTE prime time. So the hat is on different people now and the focus. So you're falling far short, desperately short in being upfront. Your legal advice, you can't hide behind legal advice for fiduciary failures of executive board members. Just can't. Ordinary boards, voluntary boards around the country that many of us sit on, and maybe many of you too, are expected. But RT seems to have this idea that they can do what they like. So you were asleep at the wheel and you were incompetent and didn't do your job.
And we'll conclude on that, Deputy McGrath, because you're way over the time now.
Thank you.
Thank you.